Hail to thee, my kindred. I hope you're all having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and night, wherever and whenever you are. We are, for those of you that are watching on the VOD, starting like almost 30 minutes late because I, in my great wisdom, have somehow managed to fall asleep until about 10 minutes prior to the time in which I usually start streaming. So that was a little surprising that I fell asleep for that long. I'm gonna have to pull an all-nighter and actually stay awake so that I can fall asleep proper time the next night tomorrow. Instead of just falling asleep at goddamn 4 in the morning. I don't know why that happened. It just kinda did. Unfortunately. I had to take like a 30-minute, delay of the stream in order to eat some food, get myself some coffee. It's still too hot to drink because I sometimes I decide to drop a little ice cube in there so that it goes down to drinkable levels instead of it being piping hot. I didn't do that this time. I'm very sorry about that. But yes, we're gonna just kinda just go right into it after. Let me see what I remember from last time. We remember, and that's in we, that's the royal we. I remember that we made it to Gidget's little town. There was a bunch of doll Iggies. They led us to Gidget's house. Gidget's mansion, I should say. And Gidget, the one we met, is very, very prim and proper, I suppose is one way to phrase it. Very uppity in her style. She's almost to a cartoonish sense. And then there's, possibly another Gidget downstairs, which is the one that Genzo meets. We are going to assume that is the case because, well, there was that little scene, right, where Genzo gets to the little cell at the basement, and then it cuts over to Iggy saying Gidget when when Iggy enters Gidget's quote-unquote Gidget's room. We don't know if this is a case of Gidget splitting herself into two pieces or Gidget just kind of being theoretically replaced is not the right word, but it's the only one I can manage to think about. Almost replaced by a version of herself. Either or, it's kind of not a good thing in either situation. One situation is definitely easier to take care of than the other, because if this is just a case of Gidget made a wish that made another Gidget appear, then we just have to get the OG Gidget out of there. But if this is a case of Gidget split herself into two, that's some magic shenanigans, and I don't know how we'll fix that. Also, on the screen, we have Genzo there. I don't know if that happened before. I don't know if it probably did. Or did it? Yeah, it probably did. So I'm assuming every time we get a character finally coming along with us, or that we finally get face to face with, they're gonna pop up on the background there, which is nice. That's kind of nice touch. I kind of like that. I like those small little touches. Like, not a lot of games really do that in general, like in a very general sense. Don't really change things up. I can't even remember off the top of my head if there's any. I guess actually this one's from a long while ago. What's it called? It's the Spec Ops. Is it Spec Ops The Line? I think that's like the closest thing I can think about when it comes to a game that changes its screen, its title screen every time you like get past certain points. Let me actually see if this is true. Spec Ops The Line. Yeah, Spec Ops The Line. Just had to search up if that was actually the right game I was thinking about. Because sometimes I have the tendency to think about one thing and then give it the name of another thing, and that's clearly not the correct thing. Anyhow, As always, in the description below for you VOD watchers, there's gonna be, a link to the game site and a bunch of warnings for things that might be triggering. So check that out if you do have something that triggers you in some way, shape, or form that makes you uncomfortable. Because there's a lot of stuff in this game that might make people uncomfortable, to be fair. And let's get going with this. We were right here, I think. Yep. It's a strange tunnel. Round, almost. As though created by some large creature burrowing through the ground. The Alaskan bullworm! And the walls themselves are rough, like eroded concrete, sticky with a kind of gelatinous substance that grows thicker the further I walk. I am reminded vaguely of the sewers we used to explore as kids. You used to explore sewers? Where were your parents? I know where a certain somebody that's a Ginger's parents were. Not giving a fuck about him, but where were the rest of your parents? Gidget in the lead with her little flashlight, round circle of light, flicking to and fro in the darkness. As behind her, the four of us would peer anxiously through the gloom, a mixture of terror and excitement in our hushed voices as we pondered what we might find. Slenderman. Well, I guess Slenderman wasn't really... Well, I guess, this is 2020... I'm trying to think of the years. What time... How old would they have been when, like, Slenderman was, like, basically a thing? I can't do the numbers right now. My brain is still too freshly awoken. Gidget then had always taken my hand, led me through the murky puddles, cleared the cobwebs from my path. But there's no Gidget to guide me this time. No, there isn't. And more than once, I feel my spine tingle in disgust at the feeling of something sticky against my fingers or slurping beneath my shoes. That is like the icky little... Like, for me, I definitely get, like, icked out a little bit by the sound of shoes or boots kind of going every time you step in, like, a march, for example. I've been on a march once. It's very marchy. as you can expect. Very marchy indeed. I'll find you, Gidget. I'll find the real you. Oh, the real you, huh? Not this, whatever this is. You've become. What this world has turned you into. No. What I've turned you into. The tunnel is so dim now, and I can barely see my hand in front of my face. And when I look back, the small circle of bedroom light looks miles and miles away, like a star against the black sky. And I clench my jaw and carry on. It's colder now. A deep unsettling chill seeping into my pores and through my bones. My hair is heavy with it, my clothes damp, like damp towels weighing me down. Damp towels. I don't know why that had me thinking of anything at all. I was thinking about, like, the actual weight of a damp towel. You know what's actually heavy? A damp blanket. Holy moly. You ever put a damp blanket over your shoulders? And it's just like, it feels like you're carrying a solid 30 pounds. Just spread across the blanket. My hair is heavy with it. My clothes like damp towels weighing me down. And when my hand reaches out next, my fingers catch on thread-like fibers that snag at my skin. I jerk back, scratch and claw at my hand to remove the offensive substance. Ew, it better not be cobwebs with spooders on them. I don't like spooders very much. Spooder gals, that's different. Spooders, They have me second guessing every decision in my life. Only to walk face first into another, this one stretching across my cheeks and hair. God, fuck. They're all over me. I wipe at them in building panic, but even as I peer ahead, I see the silvery outlines of more. Should I just come down here with like a broom, you know? That's what I would do if I was suspecting that I was gonna come across a million cobwebs. Just come in there, grab like the book off the shelf that you just went in here through, or past, I guess, since it opened up a thing. And just grab a random book and just use that to smack away the webs. They hang from the ceiling like ghostly curtains, stretched between the walls, forming dew-dripped patterns that glisten among the surrounding umbra. My heart is going into overtime now. I wipe at my eyes again and again. Keep it together, Iggy. Keep it together. I give my forehead a few good whaps with the heel of my hand. Then clench my fist and carry on. The cobwebs grow thicker and the further I go, impossible to avoid. And I constantly have to bat them away, yank them out of my hair, rip them from my clothes. My skin prickles with it, sending tendrils of panic up and down my arms, my shoulders. They tighten in my lungs, making it hard to pull in air, even as my breath comes out faster and faster. Just keep going. Just keep going. I wrench an especially sticky piece of web out of my eyes, and my lashes bristling with tears. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. On that step, I nearly stumble forward. There's a sudden dip in the ground, and my foot goes down hard, sloshing in an inch-deep pool of stagnant water. Ice-cold moisture seeps straight into my shoes, soaking my socks, splashing up and into my pants. I can't contain the whine of despondency that buzzes up between my lips. I don't blame you. Fair enough. Fair enough. I would be probably stirring up a storm. I'll be honest. I got a bit of a sailor's tongue when it comes to either pain or just shenanigans of this kind occurring. It's enough to steal my attention from the webs, my gaze going to my new surroundings as I gingerly place my other foot into the water. It's wider now, a room of sorts. Looks kind of like a cave. I mean, I guess we are in a pseudo-cave, a suspiciously, perhaps, man-made by Wonderland logic cave. The same sticky substance is dripping off the walls and ceilings in baseball-sized globs now, and the cobwebs stretch breathtakingly large across the increased space. Water and moisture and muck permeate everything in sight. From the standing water currently icing my toes, to the liquid dribbling down the walls, collecting on the webs dripping from the ceiling. The chilly murk has infiltrated my chest now, goosebumps running up and down my arms, my teeth shattering. I start forward. My feet slosh with each step, shoes slick with slime. More webs. I try to avoid them as best as possible. Some of them are so thick they are practically opaque, layers and layers of sticky tendrils. But there are other shadowy shapes among them. Gooey round orbs hanging from coiled sinews that pulse with a visceral rhythm. I don't like the sound of that. There's something disturbingly fleshy about them. Is this like a room of like, I know it's like spidery. It's too early to make a theory. I'm thinking like, okay, these Iggies were made in some way, shape, or form. They obviously attend to the whims of fancy Gidget. Maybe these pulsing fleshy things are somehow connected to them? Mayhaps? I am unsure. And I back away, bringing my arms in against my chest as I feel anxious wrigglings dance up my spine. Wrigglings, huh? That's certainly a way to phrase it. What? What is this? What am I doing here? Walking around, exploring. Very, very straightforward, Iggy. The feeling of dread grows, working its way into my belly, my chest. Something's not right. Something's not right. But there's a large shadow just up ahead. Gidget! Not our Gidget, theoretically. A figure, bowed and shuddering. And my instinctive urge to move towards it wins out against my desire to retreat. Gidget? I don't know why I say it. How could it be Gidget? Why would Gidget be here? And yet, some part of me knows. Knows even as the shadow stops, twitches, rises. Knows even as it turns around to look at me, yellow eyes and gleaming against the dark. Ooh, that's kind of spooky. I'm gonna take a little ching of that. Oh, Wiggy, you're here. Gidget, I've come to find you. Let's get out of here, yeah? I see her head tilt, her eyes blink. Why would I want to leave? We don't belong here. None of us do. I take a step forward, ignoring the alarm bells going off in my head. Just look at what this place has turned you into. Turned me into? A laugh, and I can see the shoulders of her shadowy form tremble. This place has helped me achieve what I never thought possible. It made me perfect. A pause, and I see her eyes narrow into slits. But you wouldn't understand that. You've never understood anything about me, have you, Iggy? I understood enough to know that this isn't you. Enough to know that you have a life, a real life, going outside of this world of make-believe. People who love you, a family. Gidget's gaze goes towards the ceiling, almost as though peering up into the world above our own heads. Family. Yes. I must create a family. Uh-oh. What? That's not what I... But don't worry. I've accomplished that too. No thanks to you. I see her face tighten, her brows curl. I finally settled down. Got in my house with the big yard. Found someone to love me, to please me. Her eyes squeeze shut, almost as though in pain. She then gives a little grunt. Ew, I don't want to think about that. I have an idea of what's going on, but I really don't want to think about that. It's nasty. And I hear something splash into the water. I take a step back in confusion, water sloshing against my ankles. Oh, something's clicking now. This is definitely spider related. I remember reading some of the warnings myself for Chapter 5. Gidget, however, just smiles. Reaches behind her. And when she straightens again next, she's holding one of those gooey orbs. Ah, she's making spiderlings. That's a big spiderling. That's like, on one hand, ooh, wow, amazing miracle of life. On the other hand, oh, wow, my worst fear, come manifest. You know, spiders ain't really my thing. Hmm. God damn, that's like huge too. Like you could see, like, in comparison to the size of her arm, like that motherfucker's bigger than like those tarantula type things that jump birds. The same ones I'd seen hanging from the ceiling. It pulses and throbs in her arms, heavy and weeping as it drips thick sinews of muck across her skin and into the water. Hopefully these things don't wake up, you know? They seem to be fresh-born little children. They shouldn't be ready yet, theoretically. And now... Oh, I misclicked. And now... I have a family too. My mother would be so proud, Iggy. The perfect daughter. The perfect woman. The perfect life. I see something squirming and wriggling inside the orb, almost like a tiny baby. Spider. It's at this moment that Gidget moves forward towards me, standing all the way up, taller and taller, and I see her lower half for the first time. You know I made that joke about Spider-Woman before, but this isn't, you know, under these circumstances, big red flag. Big red flag. At least she's not a praying mantis woman. Well, depending on the type of Spider-Woman that she may be, it might not be any better now that I think about it. It's become mutated and swollen, a giant fleshy abdomen poking out from the back of her purple dress. And from it spawn eight titanic legs, each one thick and haired and sharp. So fucking sharp, cutting through the water like knives as she floats towards me. My gaze nearly bugged out of my head. Did I take a little snapshot? I'm gonna take another one just in case. Back. I scramble backward so quickly I lose my balance and go down with a splat. Oh man. My backside throbs from the impact, water seeping up into my clothes, my hair. Iggy is not doing so well. I do not blame him in this circumstance, but I still can't pull my eyes away from the abomination monopolizing my vision. Gidget's lips curl into a bone-chilling half-moon. I'll have so many children soon, once they hatch. I wasn't sure it would work, you know, since I created them and all, the dolls, but they did, Iggy. The dolls can do that? I am surprised as well that they in fact can do that. Huh. If there's a will, there's a way. Jurassic Park quote or something. I can see tears glistening through the yellow glow of her eyes. Oh, we're having bandwidth issues right now, come on. And once I laid one, I couldn't get enough. I wanted more. A whole family. My family. My family. That's the power of this place. The power that makes your dreams come true. Gidget. I can barely find my voice, my breath trembling on my lips. What have you done to yourself? Her lips twitch. Then, I see her eyes snap back into sharpened focus. I see. This isn't good enough for you, is it? I'll never be good enough, is that it? Oh, angry mama. Angry mama spider is not a good sight to behold. Angry mama anything, to be fair, that is larger than the human male is not a good thing to behold. This is a good shot, though. She takes a menacing step towards me, long, segmented legs, clicking with movement. That's not what I... No one is good enough for you, are they? This brings back the smile to her face, and for a moment, her gaze goes unfocused, hazy. You're just like my mother. A laugh, as though she's watching something humorous play out on her eyelids. Stupid bitch of a woman. Damn. Then her eyes snap back towards me. Stupid bitch of a man, unable to fuck the woman of his dreams. I attempt to crawl backwards, and she lowers over as she towers over me, mucus-like strands oozing, muck dripping off her legs, dripping off her arms. But it doesn't matter. I don't need you anymore. A giggle. It starts as a tiny thrill inside her throat that grows and grows before bursting out of her lungs. No one needs you, because you're nothing. You're just a broken doll beyond repair. Why waste my time trying when I have countless replacements, She holds out the egg, and one of the pulsing sinews, dangling from the ceiling, latches onto it, curling and coiling around the gelatinous mass. Oh, it's like a baby cradle, except ickier and nasty and spidery. But don't worry, I do know something you'd be good for. Is it food? Please say it's food, and not anything freaky. It's gonna be something freaky. Gods be damned. Free from the egg, she brings her hands to her cheeks, grin, stretching hungrily as she peers down at me. My babies will need food when they hatch, and I'd love to give them something fresh. Well, at least it wasn't Mpreg. Something in this must finally ping something in my brain, because in the next second, I bolt. I twist backwards, heart beating in my ears as I scramble to my feet, water splashing, shoes slipping. Then sprint towards the exit, so fast I barely have time to dodge the hanging eggs and webs running. Fuck. But before I can so much as near the tunnel, Gidget is there. Obviously, she's a giant spider, bro. If a tiny spider can basically outrun a person, you don't think a goddamn giant spider can do the same thing? There in Hushin, looming over me like an impenetrable wall. She's fast. Extremely fast. Faster than anything I could have imagined. I spin around, feet nearly sliding out from under me as I change directions. Willing speed, willing control back into my floundering legs. By the grace of any god. We need Genzo. We need our Genzo, our glorious short king, to save us. Maybe along with other Gidget. You know, those two might be capable of throwing hands against this thing. Maybe the three of us combined, you know? We got, use classic human tactics since ancient times. It worked with the mammoths, I'm sure it will work with a giant spider. Where are you going, Iggy? Her voice sings behind me. Wouldn't you like to see them when they hatch? I bet they'll have your eyes. I go careening back across the room, slipping and sliding in the slop. Batting my way past the rows of glowing, throbbing eggs. There has to be another way out. There has to be something. But then, Gidget's already in front of me again, like a cat in the night. She moves so soundlessly I can't even hear her. Only jump backwards as her glowing eyes jump out at me from the darkness. Just think of how you'll be helping them, giving them the nourishment they need to grow and thrive. Then you could be a part of them forever, part of our family. I half-tripped this time as I scramble backwards to the opposite wall. I can barely hear, barely see, barely register anything that's going on around me. He's getting tunnel vision. I simply scream, screaming at my legs to keep moving. I keep powering through the murk and muck. A flash of something to my left, and I dodge right. Do a little hop skip as I narrowly avoid a hanging egg. You know, maybe you should grab one of them and use it as a hostage. I don't know how much Gidget would care, but I assume Gidget might care a little bit at least. You know, do the classic grab an egg and toss it up so that she's forced to go and grab it or something. Then, catch sight of the tunnel entrance again out of the corner of my eye. I'm close. And the coast appears to be clear, yeah, but she's like on your ass constantly. But even as I twist towards it, the momentum of my previous dash keeps me from sailing forward. And before I can stop myself, I go flying into an especially thick cluster of webs. Fuck. I attempt to pull away, jerking my hand forward and free of the offending fibers, but there's another right in front of it. The thick tendrils wrench and coil themselves around my wrist, sticky and tough between my fingers. A twist, tug. It has my shoulders now. I clinging to the cloth of my shirt, stretching as I heave and strain, but thick, too thick, refusing to break, and instead wrapping itself tighter with every wriggle. I try kicking, try wrestling and bouncing and flailing my feet, but that just exposes my legs to the sticky threads. And soon even my knees and ankles are caught, limbs thrust out back at awkward angles as my body sags, suspended in the air above the water. Tears spring at the corners of my eyes as I continue struggling, continue squirming. But nothing works. I'm completely, hopelessly stuck. I know there's someone out there that's into this, but not me. Let me check on a thing real quick, and also my head is feeling the need for the hydration to be put into me, so let me drink some coffee here. I will get a thing of water after I finish drinking this coffee. I understand that coffee is not the most hydrating beverage. Usually I tend to drink water before I drink or get a coffee, but I just didn't have the time this time to do all that. Because like I said, I woke up later than I usually do. My goodness gracious. A little stretch here, a little stretch there. Man, I want like a giant plushie. I don't know why. I've got like that urge to like hug a giant plush, but there is no giant plush to hug. Quite unfortunate, I might say. Quite unfortunate. Oh well. Maybe someday. I know they're expensive. So. Like a giant... What's that one Hello Kitty character called? Cinnamoroll. I like Pudding, the dog that looks like pudding, I guess. That's why they call him Pudding. I like that one. The one that he's like a almost yellowish color with the caramel that is usually on top of the pudding or flan, depending on the culture you come from. Being like a hat on the character. I hear my heart beat in my ears as I hang there. My head throbs with it. Panic rushing up from my belly to send searing flashes of acid across the back of my tongue and throat. Oh, did someone get himself stuck? And here I was having so much fun with our little game. I hear her approach first, the gentle splash of the water, the clicking of her legs. Oh, devious, devious. So many good, like, screenshots here. Then her eyes appear out of the darkness, gazing down at me, feeding on me. But all good things must come to an end, I suppose. And all the exercise can't be good for the babies. I mean, assuming you have more. No. I mean, a little bit of exercise good. Not too much, probably. I don't know, I'm not a doctor. Gidget? Tears are coming freely now, leaking down my cheeks to pool in my ears. Gidget brings her hands to my jaw, cupping my shin. You've gotten yourself tangled up pretty good there, haven't you? Aww, she smiles, tilts her head. Gidget, my voice cracks, throat thick with phlegm. I'm sorry. Her brows arc. I'm sorry for everything. A frown. What do you mean? I clench my eyes shut, jaw tight, and then I open them again, a fresh veil of tears shimmering across my vision. All the things I said, I didn't mean any of them. I was really fucking awful to you. Gidget says nothing this time, just staring down at me, her eyes unblinking. I liked you just the way you were, loved the things we did together, but I was jealous. I said such horrible things to you, made you feel like something was wrong with you. My voice shudders. But there's nothing wrong with you. There never has been. I blinked through the water, sending another cascade down my cheeks. It was me who was wrong for ever making you feel that way. Gidget's eyes begin to tremble. I'm so fucking sorry. The room goes silent. Still. I see Gidget's thumb quivering against my skin. Oh, Iggy, she says, her voice catching in her throat. Only the next moment, a searing pain rips across my right shoulder. Okay, she is tearing us apart. I let out a strangled gurgle of pain, eyes shuddering in their sockets. Gidget's leg. One of them has... Oh, it's not us who... Okay, hold on. Yes, maybe? Oh, one of them has stabbed straight through my shoulder. Hopefully, it has not hit a blood vessel, but I assume it probably has because them legs are big. Gidget grabs a chunk of my hair in her hand, wrenching my head backwards with a delighted grin. Hopefully, this does not traumatize Iggy so that he can apologize to the other Gidget. Because if I just apologized to somebody and then got stabbed for it, I might never make an apology again. That was such a moving soliloquy. She jerks the tip of her leg in further, stretching the opening and sending firework jolts of pain up and down my chest and arm, burning my brain. Are you really that conceited? She tilts her head to the side, poring over me hungrily. That all you can do is apologize, give your little sob story, shed a few tears, then that would somehow fix everything? Another thrust of her leg. Well, newsflash, Sherry boy. The world doesn't revolve around you. I spasm, sputter, drool bubbling up between my lips. It hurts. It hurts so bad. Fuck, it hurts. Every one of my nerves feels like it's on fire, exploding across my shoulder, ripping and tearing across the muscle. Gidget cocks a brow in disinterest. Oh, I'm sorry. Is this too sexual for you? She grins. It is quite erotic, isn't it? The way it slides in so slowly. Oh god, she's making this fucking weird. Weirder than it already is, bro. She pulls her leg halfway out, pauses, then shoves it in back. Shoves it back in even harder. The impact sends spasms through my body, a throaty cry past my lips. And I bite down hard on my tongue, a taste of copper flooding my mouth. Oh my god, it's gone through us! Oh lordy. Oh lordy. Oh, we're gonna die. We are like, I don't know how we come back from this one, Chief. It's like straight through the heart. I mean, it might not be straight to the heart. I really hope it's not. I mean, if it is, you know, quick death at least. At least you get a quick death. But if it's not straight to the heart, it's gonna be slightly less quicker. I guess I ended up getting to fuck you after all. How poignant. I giggle. I did say it already, didn't I? All the different things I'd love to do to you. My cute little rabbit. She's grinding her leg into the hole now, wrenching it back and forth, sending mottled spatters of blood up and into my neck, my shin, my cheek. My vision is starting to go hazy, fading in and out, consciousness like a ticking pendulum. But tonight isn't just for you anymore. She leans down, her lips against my neck, smiling. Tonight, and every night from now on, is just for me. Her lips part, and I feel her teeth up on my skin, pointed and sharp. Jeez Louise. Pinpricks of pain as they press into my throat. Mistress! Gidget pulls away with a jerk, her eyes going wide. I see Gidget visibly twitch. Cecil? She finally hisses. Oh, it is Cecil. Okay. Originally, when I said it was Cecil, I was thinking like, you know, maybe it was Cecil. And then like I went on with the whole theory about like two different Gidgets and stuck to that, because the whole Cecil thing was more like of an instinctual reaction, right? It just really looked like Cecil. But I was thinking, yeah, you know, OG Gidget did kind of, and I mean by OG Gidget, like Gidget from, because I was remembering also like Gidget when she was like younger, and she had like a, you know, like shorter hair and whatnot back in those days, right? When she was way younger. And I was like, okay, maybe this is like a two Gidgets type of thing going on. But no, this is actually kind of a pleasant surprise. Cecil is back. I don't know what Cecil would be doing here in the first place. I mean, the wishes, you know, we never get like any insight necessarily like directly other than Genzo, and I guess by technicality Buxley as to what, you know, like Genzo and Buxley are the only ones whose wishes are pretty straightforward, right? Genzo wishes to see, Buxley wishes to be alone, like left alone. Orlam, you could extrapolate a wish, right? Like obviously I'm not saying it's like, oh, I don't know 100%. I'm just saying like in terms of like what wish can be made, and then how that translates into what we see, like that's never direct. It's more like you have a sensation, a feeling of what the wishes are. Like with Gidget, you know, the first couple of times she wanted to be famous, she wanted to be known because, you know, being a model was sort of her thing, or the thing she went towards because that's what she thought, you know, she needed to do. So that's what she went with, and so when she's in Wonderland, she wishes, oh, I'm a famous model, right? And with Orlam, it's like, you know, he has a fucked up life. He's kind of not doing too well. He lives in a mess, so he wishes to be a king, because a king has everything, right? Makes sense. But Cecil, the Cecil thing, Cecil as a part of Gidget's wish is an odd thing, I think. He's kind of there. I remember Carrot saying something in one of the comments, because Carrot's obviously watching a lot of these. No, I say a lot, all of them basically. Thank you, Carrot. Thank you for watching. And I remember Carrot saying something about Cecil. I can't remember at the top of my head, but something along the lines of like Cecil wasn't originally a part of the story and then was added in at some point later on. And so to me, in my mind, Cecil is kind of an outlier a little bit. Not that he cannot make sense, right? Like in the last life, I guess, the last loop, or the one before that, I can't remember. The last loop, right? He was there because obviously Gidget wanted someone to rely on and whatnot. And that was Cecil. So, in that vulnerable moment, Wonderland said, here you go. A guy that's gonna be there for you and give you your every whim should you ask it. And now Cecil here, I didn't expect Cecil because the dream, the Wonderland, not the dream, wish seemed to have been similar but different. And so I was like, oh, well, see, we were not seeing Cecil anymore, and now Cecil's here, so I don't know why, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Not that I'm disheartened. I like Cecil to some extent. Let me take a sip of coffee and we'll continue. Cecil? She finally hisses. And Genzo's like, whoa. Oh my goodness. He's back. The boy is back. Indeed, it is her cantankerous servant. God damn, I said that in like one go. Cantankerous. Huh. Looking a bit worse for wear, for sure, from the unkempt nest of his hair to the dingy state of his attire. But still sporting his patent-pending scowl and air of unadulterated disdain. Next to him, Genzo takes a step back in fright, the color draining from his face. What the actual fuck is going on here? Gidget ignores him, letting out another hiss and yanking her leg out of my shoulder. We are going to bleed out. we are going to fucking die if we don't get this shit wrapped up. Her leg went through us, and I'm pretty sure that's like a solid multiple inch thick leg. Don't worry, I'm not literally applying real life logic to this, but like that's what my brain immediately goes to. My man brain is just like, oh my god, Iggy just got like basically the equivalent of getting shot with like a 20 mil through the shoulder. Just fucking like, damn, this man is gonna die. She retracts her appendages, rears back. Why is she so like hostile towards the freaking Cecil? Why is it never I find some peace? You're always there. Always there. She brings her hands to her head, fingers clenched in her hair. And for once, Cecil cocks a smile, and he brings a hand to his chest with a sardonic flick, because I live to serve. So one time he smiles. Well, that means, I'm coming to terms with the fact that the Gidget in front of us is the real Gidget. I did not think she could, come out fucked up. I was thinking, I was really banking. I guess that's my optimism, that this version of her was not really her. I guess it is. Man, all of those memories did not serve her very well, and I highly doubt that it's gonna serve Orlam quite well. Although he is a little bit more smart about things, I still don't think in general. Like, if things are not going well with with Gidget after knowing everything, and this is what she does with all that knowledge. I can only imagine what Orlam does, and then Buxley is probably just gonna be shilling the woods, because all she's probably has memory of is shilling in the woods, murdering her friends, shilling in the woods, murdering her friends again. This just sends Gidget into an even greater rage. Get out, get out, get out, get out! You will not take this away from me. This is what I want. This is what I've always wanted. She lashes out her legs, sending a spray of blood, my blood, out across the room. A thin line of it splashes Cecil's cheek, and he glances down at it with a wince. That's also a cool thing. I don't know if I said that before, but the way the characters will, like, have the, like, motion sprites, I guess I'll call them, where they, like, flick their eyes around and stuff like that. That's pretty cool, too. I really like that. I think I've said it once before, but just in case, it's a cool feature. I like that. Interesting. I don't remember anything about hatching a nest full of arachnoid infants from your list of childhood dreams. Gidget shrieks, then leaps. Cecil goes darting out of the way, rolling through the water as he avoids Gidget's thrashing limbs. Yo, Cecil's like a Dark Souls summon. When he pushes himself back up to his feet, with a tiny grimace, he pulls a kitchen knife from inside his vest, wielding it in front of his face. Genzo takes this moment of distraction to run towards me, his face whiter than white and his eyes strained. Fuck, eggs! His gaze goes from the gaping hole in my shoulder to my tear and not streaked face. Tear and not snot. You know what I mean. Crying, tear-streaked face. There we go. He brings a hand to my forehead, pushing back my sweaty bangs. Stay with me, okay? I'll get you out of here. Then he pulls out a similar knife from his pocket and starts hacking away at the stringing fibers, holding me in place. Back on the other side of the room, Gidget is reeling. Scuttling first left, then right, then left again as she studies the bedraggled man standing among the webs. You were never supposed to come back. I buried you away for good. For good. It's surprising it didn't kill him. She shoots out a leg, but Cecil blocks with a well-aimed swing of the knife. Damn, Cecil! That's the thing about the truth, though, isn't it? Hide it away all you want, but it will always find a way to dig its way back to the surface. The truth? Ha! Don't make me laugh. Another swing, another block. The truth is that I'm happier than I've been in a long, long time. That everyone accepts me. Everyone loves me. Not even my mother would be able to deny my accomplishments, to deny my perfection. But now, you had to come and ruin it all. She rushes forward. Her body moves with a nigh invisible celerity to the opposite wall in less than a second, and Cecil barely manages to escape her legs in time, flinging himself to the left just before the nearest tip would have impaled him. He staggers back to his feet, wipes at a fresh set of scratches on his cheek. Happy, he scowls. That's a lofty word for someone who can't even bear to look at themselves in the mirror. At this, Gidget twists back with a hiss. I see her eyes flash. Well, I mean, he's definitely roasting her, but I don't know how much that's helping us. When was the last time you ever felt this little home? When was the last time you even left this little home you built yourself, hiding away in here? Are you too ashamed people will see who you've become? That's not true! That's not true! That's not true! Gidget screeches, and I see her start pulling, tugging, yanking at her hair. I love who I am! I love everything about myself! Another leap forward. She goes careening across the room, Cecil barely avoiding the flurry of her legs. He staggers, breath heavy, but resumes his stance all the same. I don't even remember the last time I saw you smile, and not those fake painted grins you give yourself, a real smile from deep inside. I see Cecil's eyes tighten, his mouth twitch. Putting on these little acts every day, wearing your perfect doll mask, while behind everything you're dying inside. Gidget twists around, the very air around her seeming to warp and bend. Shut up! Why do you do it? Shut up! Why do you force yourself to be someone you're not? Shut up! When you know you'd be happier? When you'd be able to love yourself? Gidget whips her head back and wails, shrieks, "Because I have to!" Then, charges. This one happens too fast and too sudden and too furious. She flies forwards, eyes wild, legs poised, and there's a squelch. Oh no, they're fucking summoned. He's fucking dead again. Well, he lives to serve, so I'm sure he's like fine with this. A deep, heady one. Heady, I think, was the way to say that one. And for a moment, nothing happens. Nobody moves. Nobody even blinks. And then a drip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thick, heavy drops that punctuate the stillness. Oh, fuck, bro. He's so dead. He was doing so good. Oh, man. This is just Night Rain. Except it was one guy. Genzo's too busy trying to get us out of the web, and Iggy's too busy dying, so I don't know how this is gonna go. Cecil is suspended in the air, head rolled back, arms limp. 4 of Gidget's legs are through his chest, like some kind of horrific cocktail skewer, holding him aloft. Soft and saggy and shuddering as rivulets of blood trace his legs, drip from his shoes. Gidget's voice catches. I see her staring at him, bewildered. The flare of anger from her face gone. The flare of anger gone from her face. Cecil? She gives him a shake. It does nothing but send his limbs quivering, his head bouncing. Cecil? Again and again. Her brows are curling inward, her pupils trembling. No. Beads of water pools beneath her eyes, giant salty droplets that grow and grow. Grow until they get so heavy they cascade down her cheeks like waterfalls, bubbling up between her lips. Oh god, now it's so weird that I'm feeling kind of bad for her. Like, I know she's like here to murder fuck us, I guess, but like, god damn. You know? I kind of forget that Wonderland kind of does fucky things, you know? A little bit. At least that's a theory. Does fucky things to you. I just feel bad. Clearly, this place does nobody good mentally. And, you know, I was questioning why she hadn't killed him before, if she wanted to keep him away so bad. Clearly, it's because she, to some extent, like, maybe the word is appreciates, right? Appreciates just what he's done for her, despite her being her. So I'm assuming that's why she kept him alive, but like tucked away. And now that she's murked him, yeah, she's not gonna be too happy about that. No, 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 no. She pulls him towards her, takes him into her arms, looks at him a moment, then clutches him to her chest with a wail. That's a wail unlike anything I've ever heard. Biting at my chest, A stuttered crescendo, crescendoing, a stuttering crescendoing tremolo that damn, a stuttering crescendoing, a stuttering crescendoing tremolo that steals the very air from my lungs, the joy from my heart. Iggy, let's not pretend like you had any joy at this time and place, okay? You had no joy right now. You are, like, on the verge of being dead. She wails and she wails and she wails. Wails as though a part of her has died. As though a piece of her heart has been clawed into two. And as she wails, she begins to change. And I can't even quite describe it. Shrinking almost. First her legs, shriveling up in one at a time before simply falling off, like desiccated stalks crumbling to the ground. Then her body, that distended abdomen, deflating like a balloon. Wrinkled skin caving in on itself as her upper half sinks towards the ground. Lower and lower, her skirt billowing out around her, ballooning out around her, settling atop the water like a cloud, purple and shuddering as it descends to the ground. And from the cracked bits of parched skin, her own legs, her real ones, poke through, curled beneath her and sheltered by the torn flaps of her dress. It's Gidget. Our Gidget. The one we thought we'd lost. Sobbing and shaking and gripping Cecil to her chest. Desperately tight. So tight I could swear for a moment they'd become one. Genzo and I can only watch. Watch as she kneels in that stagnant, murky water and wails. Cecil's frame hanging limp in her arms. Gidget carries Cecil's body back through the tunnel. And once in her room, she lays him atop her bed. He looks tiny, resting among the mountain of pillows. Beneath him, the duvet quickly becomes stained with blood, a brilliant red stain on the sheets. Gidget, I step away from Genzo's support, my legs shaky. But Gidget doesn't look at me. Instead, staring down at Cecil, I see her arms trembling. Finally, she whips herself away, teeth clenched. She looks at me, and looks at Genzo. Rolls around, gaze surveying the room. Then she growls. It starts small, so small at first I don't even realize it's coming from her. Then it builds into a guttural groan that crackles and claws at her lungs and throat. She goes stomping towards the tea table. Gives it a single glance, then grabs it by the edge and shoves it over onto its side. It gives a loud thud as it and the tea fineries on top go crashing to the ground. Without missing a beat, she grabs one of the chairs, raising it over her head and slamming it down onto the wooden mess again and again, warbled grunts pushing past her lips. Gidget? I start forward, but Genzo quickly stops me, a hand to my shoulder. Let her have her moment, bud. I swallow hard, but take a step back all the same, hands clasping and unclasping in worry. Gidget seems to finish with the share. She straightens with a start, looks around, and then goes stomping towards the chest of drawers, letting out a barely restrained roar as she yanks it away from the wall. It slams to the ground, drawers half open and spilling clothes and gold-tinted accessories out across the floor. Now to the armory. She flings open the doors, grabbing fistfuls of clothes, fine laces and dresses and blouses, and rips them from their hangers, throwing them to her feet, tearing at the fabric. She pauses there a moment, just standing amongst the chaos of clothes. Her fists are clenched so hard I can see her arms shivering. Then she takes off again. I'm not even sure if she knows where she's going this time. But midst tirade, she spots the mirror on the wall. Stops. Looks at herself. Then her face crumples in on itself. A fresh wave of tears forms a deluge down her cheeks, and she brings her hands to her forehead, palms slapping against the skin. She spins with a sudden whirl, makes a beeline towards the desk, rifles desperately through the drawers, then emerges with a pair of scissors and marches back towards the mirror. She stands there, staring, then lets out a guttural cry of desperation, eyes going sharpened, starts to cut. It's patchy and jerky and erratic. One chunk, two. She clenches her fingers around one clump after another and chops giant swaths of it off that float to the floor. More and more. Until a gold pile has formed at her feet. All that hair. All those cloying honeyed tangles. Nothing more than a nest of cruel memories finally released. She doesn't stop until it's above her shoulders, tufts of it sticking out humorously in unkept cowlicks. But that doesn't seem to be enough, because she then starts on her dress, yanking and tearing at the bows and lace, snipping away great greedy gobfuls of her skirt, ripping the fabric between her fingers. Gidget! She stops, her hands trembling. Then turns to me, water quivering on her eyes. She sniffs, drops her gaze, and lets the scissors fall to the ground. I need to be alone for a bit, she finally says, voice small, so small. Of course. Yeah, can we get some, medical assistance for Iggy here? Like that. Had a whole spider leg go through. I mean, maybe it's just Wonderland magic. We just survive a little bit longer. We're more impervious to the wounds here. I feel Genzo's hand on my wrist, gently urging me toward the door. Come on, Eggs. We'll regroup in the morning, yeah? I don't say anything, but let myself be guided from the room all the same. I throw one last glance at Gidget, her gaze still pointed downward, before Genzo pulls the door shut behind us. I don't know what to do, what to think, to the point that I find myself incapable of forming words. So, I remain silent. And Genzo leads me down the stairs, gentle in the way his fingers tug at my wrist. The Iggy dolls go into a panic once we reach the bottom, fretting over us, fawning over us. And I'm led immediately back to my room, where the dolls tend to my wounds, cleaning, stitching, gauzing at it. All while I stare off at the far wall, my mind somewhere else, somewhere far away. Okay, well, at least I got my wish of the Iggy dolls not becoming evil little guys. I like them very much, and I'm glad they remained good guys. Even if they were made explicitly for the purpose of servitude, which has its own moral shenanigans going on with it. I'm glad they remained chill, helpful little guys who are, I say little, I know they're taller than me because they're built to be like Iggy, but still. They're little guys in spirit, okay? As they finish and start to leave, I notice Genzo peeking in through the open door, his face clouded with worry. But he eventually lets his gaze fall, and when I blink and look back, he's already gone. The room is quiet and dark around me, somehow pleasant yet unbearable at the same time. When I hear soft pitter-patters against the window, I glance over to see that it's raining. The water running soft rivulets down the glass plane. I don't know why I didn't say that word. The glass pane. Yeah, pane. Okay, maybe I did say it correctly. I sigh and let my eyes flutter closed. Tired. I'm unbearably tired. It doesn't take long before I drift off to sleep. Me 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 me. Me 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 me. Morning comes swiftly, and with it, a bone-deep ache that racks my entire frame. I wince as I sit up, hand to my shoulder as I gingerly nurse the stiff gauze. Then it's to the bathroom so that I can survey the damage. I look awful. Eyes dark, face gray, hair a messy snarl. But there's not much I can do about it. So instead, I simply do my business before wandering out into the hallway. Let's get some brekkie, you know? Some hash browns. It's empty. And when I glance to my left, I see the door to Genzo's room already open, the room itself vacant. I shoo on the inside of my chic, just staring at it for a moment, then start down the hall. Sorry, I had to burp there. What the fuck is Genzo doing? What is he doing? Why are all the Iggies there? Genzo's in the entry hall, engaging in animated one-sided conversation with a group of Iggies. But he turns at my arrival, eyes widening at first, then softening in relief. Iggs! He's to my side immediately, hand to my good shoulder, and eyes poring over the state of my face, my injury, my slouched stance. I find that funny. He's just having a one-way conversation. Like, I know he is a yapper, to be fair. He is a yapper, so the Iggies would have a lot to hear. And they'd probably just sit there and listen, because I guess they're just polite like that, you know? You okay? I part my lips, feel the buzz of of words on the back of my throat. Those guys fixed you up pretty good, yeah? Thank God, you know? Because fuck, if you didn't look like you were like you didn't look about ready to give up the ghost last night. I didn't sleep a fucking wink. All I could think about was you getting some terrible bone-eating infection and dying in the middle of the night. Wouldn't that be a shitter, am I right or am I right? Been catching up with your little four-eyed bugaboos over here though. Might not be much for conversation, but damn are the little fuckers lively. Did I mention I haven't slept a wink? Genzo. You need anything? Breakfast, coffee, morphine injection? My strong manly arm to hold and protect you and make all the bad thoughts go away? Genzo. Genzo winces. Looks away. I see a touch of pink on his cheeks. Sorry, it was just pretty worried, I guess. I'm fine, really. Pretty sore, but I'll live. Thank goodness. Get that thing cleaned. You know, you need another one. It's been a couple of hours. You're supposed to switch out the gauze and clean the wound and every couple of hours for like a couple of days, and that prevents infection, hopefully. You know, Genzo's not wrong, and you know, Genzo is obviously worried as hell. Clearly, he's clearly mentioned it. But even if he didn't, the yappening would have alerted us to that. Alerted me for sure, because that's what he does. I did a glance towards the gaggle of Iggies Genzo had been gabbing with earlier to catch them looking at us. They jerk and turn away at a start. They're just like, oh, private conversation, time to go. They just pretend we're not listening. But they're all just like, They're all still in the room. They're all just looking away, just politely, you know? That's so funny to me. Any sign of Gidget? Genzo just shakes his head. He brings a hand up to scratch beneath his cap. Not that I've seen. Though a few of the cotton tops have already been up there. Busy little broad beans they are. I was gonna say they tend to be. My eyes go instinctively back to the stairs, even as my mind attempts to keep from replaying the events from last night. No, too soon. I need to keep my head clear. There's still too much that we need to do here. Letting myself succumb to the rapid-fire series of trauma-inducing assaults on my body and psyche that this season's version of our Wonderland has inflicted upon me will only send me running back to my room with the door locked tight. I'll face it later. We should figure out what to do next. Damn, you move fast. I just would rather not be here any longer than we have to. I can't blame you for that. Every second we're here is another opportunity for this place to fuck us up. He emphasizes each word with an emphatic poke of his finger against his palm. I cringe, bring a finger to my shin in thought. It's obvious where we're supposed to go next. Not only because it's been where we've gone next every single time we've taken this goddamn plunge in purgatory, but also because by the time we reach that cabin, we all need to be there. I don't know how I know this. I just know. An important decision needs to be made there before we can move on. Before I can move on. Promise me that no matter what happens, you make your own decisions, yeah? For yourself, and not for anyone else. I'm not sure why those words spring back into my head. The thought sends a nervous trill up and down my spine, stirring my bowels. I shake my head to ward them off. I guess we need to cross the lake then, I finally say, gaze going towards the door. We can't. The sudden voice nearly sends my heart into my throat, and I spin around, fingers curled into anxiety-taut claws. The lake's turned into acid. No boats can get across. It's Gidget. Only somehow in my heart, I know it's not the same Gidget as before. Hey, okay, short-haired Gidget. Obviously was gonna be a thing. Look at her! Look at her! There's something different about them. About the way they stand, the way they carry themselves. More confident. And quite handsome, too. I find my cheeks going hot in spite of myself, and I stand up just a little bit taller. Just a fit change, come on. It can't be that, seriously. Kenzo looks similarly affected next to me. Both of us just, staring at them. What? Gidget averts their gaze, suddenly shy. Notice how they're using they now. I'm assuming that is as what we will refer to Gidget from this point on. I'll have to keep that in mind. I will, just as a warning for anybody that gets pissed off, probably make the mistake of calling them a she if this is the case, because it's been that way for like a long ass while, so forgive me. That and I'm just a rock when it comes to my mental capacity sometimes. So if I make a mistake, you know, give a man a break. Nothing. Just, I run an awkward hand through my hair. Then simply smile. Good to have you back. Hey, good to have you looking like a snack in a suit. Genzo! I smack him in the shoulder, which elicits a wince like a snack in a suit. Gidget looks about ready to die from embarrassment. They cough into their hand, straighten their shoulders. Then finally continue, only the slightest crackle in their voice. Anyway, we'll need to go around. It's a bit of a walk though. Damn, just what I wanted. More nature treks of certain death. What about the rabbits? I have a feeling we'll run into even more of them the closer we get to the castle. Don't worry, we can take them. Them? Hey, Gidget gestures towards the gaggle of Iggy's behind them. Oh no, you're not telling me we're bringing them along, are we? I understand they're not like... I mean, come on. They're not battle ready. They've not even been trained. I assume. I mean, I know they can run like a motherfucker, you know? Theoretically, they don't get tired physically like we do. But that's about the only two, advantages I can see them having. Like, I guess maybe numbers, but the rabbits do have a fair amount of numbers and strength. Why am I wargaming this in my brain? Just go with the story, Yali. Who respond with flustered salutes. Hold on, did I read this line? Gidget gestures towards the gaggle of Iggy's behind them, who respond with flustered salutes. One of them promptly tips over his own feet and stumbles to the floor. I blank. That doesn't bode much confidence. I hope they come programmed with a rake attack. Iggy was always pretty good at that one. I'll have my chef start putting together some rations for us. It could take a few days, and we'll want to conserve our strength. And Gidget's gaze goes towards the far window, almost as though playing out our route and the castle beyond in their mind. I haven't seen Orlam since we got here, but he... A pause. Wasn't in the best way. I see them bite down on their lip with a wince. At any rate, who knows what we'll find when we get there. A chill runs up my spine, one that sparkles at the base of my neck like anxious firecrackers. I press my lips together. I can feel it in my chest, the tangled mesh of fear and dread. Visceral enough to send snips and snaps up my arms and legs. I mean, yeah, if the rabbits are going haywire, that means that even, Orlam was already fucked before when it came to cannibalizing his citizens in order to feed his troops and himself and his people, maybe to some extent. But now, if the rabbits are going around just murking anybody, we don't even know if they're taking orders still, or if Orlam's even bothered with playing, the part of, a king that attempts to take care of his people even in his own fucked up way. This is gonna be a woozy getting there and dealing with everything along the way, let alone when we actually get there. Oh god, now my nose is getting stuffy. To squeeze my lungs and like a vice, but I blinked it away. We won't stop though, right? I hear myself say. Genzo flicks his gaze towards me with an inquisitive hum. And I continue. We won't leave until we find everyone. Until we fix this. I shoot a glance at Genzo, then at Gidget, my eyes tight. No matter what happens, all 5 of us are going home. Together. The 3 of us grow silent. Just standing there, staring at each other. Then Gidget grunts, puts their hand out. Together, they say simply. Next to me, Genzo sighs. Long and deep and just a little bit gravelly. Fuck it. I'll make sure even he gets out of this. He slaps his own hand down on top of Gidget's. Then they both glance towards me, eyes expectant. And I feel something inside of me, a breath of relief washing through me. I bring my hand down on top of Genzo's, and for a second, it's like we're in grade school again, the three of us about to embark on a daring mission unknown. I crack a smile, a tense smile, a tremulous smile, but a smile all the same. Together. This would have been a good spot to end if I had ran the stream for a little longer the last time that we played this. But that's fine. We leave the next day. We must make it quite the sight. A lot of us tramping out of the manor, gaggle of Iggies in tow, and carrying their little satchels of food and supplies and tools. The Iggies that stay behind leave us off from the doors and windows. I can't help but feel like one of those RPG heroes leaving their hometown for the first time, off to start a grand new adventure. Yeah, we get our little army of Iggies who most definitely are not built to fight, but they do have, like I said, like one advantage. One advantage over us, I guess. In theory, they might not feel pain. We know they feel emotions. Maybe they don't feel pain. Maybe. Or maybe they do, since they were... Well, I mean, I can extrapolate they might, because, you know, they were also built to get freaky with Gidget, so, like, I don't know. Or a war. This thought makes the spit get stuck in my throat. But I stave off the mental images of knives and cauldrons and cattle prods and turn my gaze towards Genzo and Gidget instead. Did we at least have, like, weapons? Like, even the makeshift little bullshit things? Like, somebody grab some tape, get me a broomstick, and get those kitchen knives. Like, we're going off to war, you know? Give the little Iggies something of a fighting chance. Both of them offer a smile. Right. We've got this. We've definitely got this. And then we're off. Past the houses and the hedges and the cobblestone streets. Past the pier and its lingering haze of memories on repeat. Back into the woods. Into the sea of pinks and purples and presentiments. We tried to stay close to the lake at first. The tighter the circle we trace, the shorter the journey after all. But the ground quickly becomes hard to maneuver, all uneven crags and rocks littered among the silt and sand. So we forge a wider circumference where only the occasional tangle of brush can slow us down. And the going itself is uneventful. Despite my misgivings, the path is clear. Nothing and no one in the surrounding wood. And not in a particularly eerie way either. The sort where you know someone is watching you. No, this feels familiar somehow. And it's only when my foot catches on an upturned root and I go tumbling forward, both Genzo and Gidget at my side in a second to pull me back to my feet that I realize it feels like the forest back home. The one we'd used to explore. A bit scary for sure, but exciting at the same time. An adventure with friends. I'm fine, I mumble in embarrassment, an embarrassed assurance as I put myself back to my feet. And Genzo and Gidget just look at each other sheepishly. My cheeks burn at the attention. This part, though... Had this part always been the same? Maybe it had. Maybe I'd just never realized it. Bike rides with Genzo, zooming along dusty, dirty roads before flinging ourselves down on the grass, exhausted and laughing and watching the clouds overhead. Catching him looking at me, laughing as I'd obliviously asked what's wrong. Was there something on my face? Afternoons in the computer lab with Gidget, shoulders touching as we'd troubleshoot an especially tricky line in our projects. My stupid jokes that had still made them laugh every time, their playful shoves as they'd made fun of my sloppy code. Yeah, Maybe I just never realized it. I bring a hand up to my face, hoping it will hide the red on my cheeks as we start to our hike adieu. Gosh, just like, I'm sorry, but like my nose is like, gah. It's like getting clogged for like no reason right now. And it's bothering me so much, it's actually causing me trouble to read. And I can't do anything about it, that's the worst part. I walk for several hours at a time. We walk for several hours at a time, mostly in silence, save the occasional direction from Gidget. The intermittent flurry of activity from the Iggies, usually when one of them has fallen or tripped or gotten himself snagged on an overhead branch. Poor Iggies. Then it's a break to rest our legs, drink from our flask of water, nibble on snacks. Before pushing onward, only onward. Walking until the sun hits its peak, then begins to descend. Yes, following the same trail it always does. Whether we're on sea or on land, we follow it. Follow it towards the distant spires and the retribution that awaits us within. Night eventually falls, and with it, the temperature. We find a clearing, and the Iggies get straight to work building a fire. Then it's dinner. Small boxes of neatly laid food, a pot of chili cooked over flames. I like chili. I really do. It's not something I have often, but it's like so nice. Simple, just ground meat, whether it's beef or turkey, because we in my household, due to me and my health, tend to have, we tend to buy like turkey or chicken ground meat instead of ground beef. It works all the same. You get some nice seasonings in there. You put some beans in there if you want. Dice up an onion. Maybe some cayenne. It depends if you want to make your stuff slightly spicy. Maybe add a literal chili if you have any. You can also add like slices and dices of like bell pepper. That's always pretty nice. I like myself a nice bit of veggies with my meats whenever I have a large quantity of them. My nose. Then it's dinner. Small boxes of neatly laid food, a pot of chili cooked over flames, bitter chocolate that turns to sweetness against my teeth and lingers on my tongue as I stare up at the stars. Aw, look at us. Just the three of us. We can make it if we try. Just the three of us. Just the three of us. It's quiet save the crackling flame. Genzo snores on my right. Gidget's hummed breath on my left. But still, it takes me hours to fall asleep. Hopefully the other Iggies are on like a rotation. Fire watch. Or something. Just keeping an eye open. One Iggy at a time. The pain in my shoulder has settled onto a dull ache that weighs down on my bones. It throbs like a heartbeat. In and out. In and out. It makes my brain drum, makes my already tingling anxiety crackle in my chest. But I try to concentrate on other things. The warmth of the fire, the feeling of security from being sandwiched between my friends. The seed of hope I try to keep tended to in the folds of my heart. I bring a hand up to trace the rough pattern of gauze. It's a wound I deserved, maybe. A wound that won't ever quite heal. A reminder to myself of what I'd done, the things I've said. The things I said. Yeah, I mean, that wound to the shoulder of that capacity surely is gonna be a bitch once you age a little bit more, Iggy. Gonna have to move different from now on. How many more wounds will I endure before we bring this story to its conclusion? I sigh and let my eyes flutter closed, then finally drift off to sleep. When the Iggies wake us up, I feel like I've barely slept a wink. We should reach the castle a bit before nightfall if we keep up at this pace, Gidget muses as they sip from the tin cup of coffee one of the Iggies prepared. I hate that kind of sleep. That's like most of the time when I sleep. Most of my sleep is me just at some point waking up and somehow having gone to sleep. There's a rough gnarl in their throat that betrays their fatigue. Perfect! That place is a fucking nightmare during the day. I'm sure it'll be much better at night. Doing nothing but grunt and response. I do nothing but grunt and response. I don't have the energy for words just yet. The coffee tastes good, though. Just how I like it. And my spirits have slightly lifted by the time we break camp. Morale up. It's good. Then it's back to our journey. Once more making our way through the trees, around the tangles of brush and moss-covered stumps. The terrain is rougher now. More winding hills, more dips in the land, more streams cutting across our path. I find myself tiring more quickly. The pangs are back, sharp jolts of pain that zip across my chest with each uneven step, each sloping incline. But I press onward all the same, not wanting to be the one to slow us down. I must not be very good at hiding it, though, because the next time we stop for a break, Genzo sits purposefully next to me. You, doing okay there, Iggs? His voice is hushed. To keep from embarrassing me? I shake my head and take an extra long zip from my flask. I'm fine. Besides, it's not much further. Genzo grunts, turning his head in the direction of the castle. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Then it's time to get up. My body groans at me. My chest is on fire, and my feet feel like they're tied to two giant anvils. But I push through it, jogging to catch up with Genzo and Gidget at the front of the line. Don't push yourself, yeah? I see Gidget's eyes cloud with worry as they look at me. Too late for that, Genzo says with a laugh. Guy's been pushing himself since the moment we stepped out the door. Hey! Except it comes out as a cough that racks my lungs and sends copper-coated phlegm up the back of my throat. Am I wrong? I grumble something about giving me a break as I wipe at my mouth. Then we're off. A bit slower this time, I noticed. High noon turns to afternoon, turns to evening. A marble sea of pink and purple and yellow overtakes the sky. But our surroundings haven't changed much. Still the same expanse of trees, only darker now, the sun's light fading for a second time. Are we gonna make it by nightfall? I cough again. My lungs are burning. We may have veered a bit further than I thought. Gidget stops to survey our surroundings. Which is mildly concerning considering I hadn't planned on us spending another night out on the... Their gaze suddenly jerks to the left, their body tensing. Oh, what is it? My own shoulders give a jump, arms bristling with a sudden unease. Gidget stares off into the bush, but ultimately shakes their head. Nothing. A grimace. I thought I saw something is all. Bonaz, deep fatigue'll do that to ya. Just let us know if you start hallucinating us as food. I've been eating enough for 10 lifetimes already. Anyway, let's keep going. If it gets too dark, we'll stop. But at least let's see how far we can get. Genzo throws up a lopsided salute. Aye aye, Captain. This earns him an eye roll and a sigh. But we continue on all the same. We've definitely been scouted. If, you know, we are to assume that Gidget did spot something. And that we are close to the kingdom. I don't see why there wouldn't be. I know the rabbits, you know, when they were more organized would patrol the streets. But now that they're more disorganized and assuming they're still taking orders, we can assume they're fucking around, just taking random ass patrol routes, really in search of food. But they could, in theory, you know, see like a large group like ours and be like, oh, gotta report this one, even though I'm hella hungry and I wanna eat one of them. Goodness gracious. The trees are casting long, dark shadows across the ground. Already our field of vision has decreased substantially. And my legs, they're starting to feel like molasses. Achy and sluggish. Pain shooting up my heels with each step. Pain shooting out across my chest and shoulder. Pain shooting up the back of my neck and throbbing in my skull. I try to tell myself it's understandable. I've incurred a serious injury after all. Are we sure that thing is like not infected? Like, you know, you're going on like multiple hour long walks from like rise to night, you know, from sunrise to sunfall. And, you know, you've been like, when was the last time we had that wound checked? And I have now been walking for 2 days straight out in the middle of the woods. But I can't help the feeling of guilt tugging at the nape of my neck. We've slowed down because of me. We would have been there by now if it weren't for me. I bite down on my tongue until the taste of copper fills my mouth. I get so lost in my guilt-ridden thoughts, in fact, that I stop paying attention to my feet and the ground underfoot. My toes ram into an uprooted rock jutting out from the underbrush. And in the span of 2 seconds, pain makes a beeline straight up my leg and balance goes kaput. I promptly crumple to the ground like a sack of overripe potatoes. Yikes. Now the pain is all over me. Groan-worthy spasms ricocheting out across my chest and shoulder and neck. Eggs! But I don't want to worry them, so I turn over, push myself up on my elbows. That's when it happens. A shudder flash of movement to my right, and before I can so much as let out an "oh," there's a weight on my chest. Oh, these fuckers. Huh. They're on our ass. Well, I mean, I was gonna say in theory, better these guys than the rabbits? I don't know how many of these guys there are. That's the issue. We might still, you know, we might be on equal grounds, depending on whether we have weapons or not. We know that we have tools, and tools, at least we can thwack people with. You know? And as the ancient men of the Stone Age once had taught me personally, you grab a rock and you bash a thing enough times, it's gonna stop moving. So, you know, whatever tools we have, they better start whacking. Whacking very hard, particularly hard, against these things, because they got chompers. And a giant orb of red right in front of my face. It's, one of those fucking tomatoes! I hear Genzo's voice raise about 5 octaves. The tomatoes? Gidget sounds perplexed. The thing is staring straight at me, coal black eyes sunken and glinting. Vyuba, you made it! Gidget's a dude? Gidget is being referred to as a they, ever since their switch up of style. So that's what we're going with. You missed a lot. You missed, like, quite a lot. I'll recap as best as I can. We stopped last time when we were going down the tunnel Turns out tunnel is where Gidget was making her little brood of spiderlings because there was a lot of webs, and Gidget was a spider gal for a quick minute. And I say that as in, like, she was a spider woman, I guess, like, just down there, making little spider babies. And Gidget almost got, killed again. Not Gidget, Iggy, sorry. Iggy almost got killed again after running around, getting caught in a web. And he apologized to Gidget. Um, Gidget, was like mad at the apology because at the time, they were like, oh, you think that's gonna fix everything? You're gonna have to watch the VOD. This is why I wait for you because you're special. Shush. I'll still explain. And if you watch the VOD, watch it on YouTube. Haha. uh, where was I? Spider Gidget was mad, stabbed Iggy in the shoulder with one of their legs. Then, guess who came to save us? We were correct initially about Cecil being the one in the cage. It was not another version of Gidget, it was Cecil. So, Cecil came back, and then we basically had a freaking Elden Ring Night Rain situation going on, where Genzo was trying to get Iggy out of the web, while Cecil was basically blocking and rolling and, almost shit talking, but not really, Gidget at the time, and like taking, Gidget's attacks and whatnot, and being very confrontational about why aren't you, basically saying things along the lines of, this isn't you. Why do you think you're like, why do you do this to yourself? Why do you keep going with this? Until eventually Gidget murked Cecil. And then they felt very bad about that. And that seemed to have snapped Gidget out of their stuff for a while. And then we all went back upstairs. And Gidget just kind of went on a rampage in their room. And we just had to let that happen. And then we regrouped in the morning. And then Gidget, came downstairs with their new style, with their new selves, I should say. Not new style, their new selves. And then after that, we kind of, talked a little bit about how we had to go to the kingdom, because obviously that's where we always go next. Iggy made it, they all had a moment of like togetherness where Iggy's like, we'll make sure we all get back and, we all together make it out of this, all of us. They all had like their literally like hands out type of thing over one another's hand, like yippee hooray type of thing. And now we are traversing to the kingdom, and Iggy's not doing too well because of both the injury and I assume exhaustion. And now it's like day 3 in the woods of us making our way to the kingdom, to the castle, because we couldn't go through the pond through the lake or whatever because the water is all acid, so no boats can go through there. And we made our way along with the Iggies. We have a bunch of Iggies with us, the doll ones, right? They're following us along because, in case we have to throw hands with any of the rabbits, which I highly doubt those poor guys are going to be able to handle the rabbits, but I guess it's better than nothing. It's better than just Gidget, Genzo, and our Iggy alone. Then, Iggy falls after hitting his toe on a rock, and then this guy pops out of nowhere. And that's the recap. It'll be better if you watch the VOD. Thanks for the recap, Mr. Streamer, but let's go back just in case. Nuh-uh. You are gonna go back in time. I am gonna go forwards. Time moves everlasting. And it stops for nobody. I should slap it away. Push it off. Try to run. Hell, even shouting something might do something. Anything. But it's all I can do not to piss my pants right on the spot as the memories of my guts hanging from its mouth flash through my mind like the world's most horrific Nickelodeon. What? Nickelodeon? Oh, like it's almost cartoonish. I get it. You're glad I gave you a recap almost every time, though? Hey, it's worthwhile. You've been here, like, viewing the story with me the entire time. I kind of owe it to you. It's hard to do when people just, like... like, if somebody comes in that hasn't viewed this story along with us, it's too much to explain, but since you only miss, like, sometimes, like, a couple of minutes worth, or like, you know, whatever, it's easier to explain to you the last 30 minutes to an hour than it is to explain to somebody else like the last 10 hours worth of content, you know? My lips are trembling. My lips tremble with the word. Then, and the thing looms ever closer. A drool glistening off its razor-sharp teeth. Breath hot on its face. There's a crunch. And in the next second, it goes tumbling off me, spindly limbs flailing. I look up to see one of the Iggies, eyes wide and fearful, and the metal bar that they'd used for the prior night's cookpot raised above his head like a golf club. Good shit! Yippee! Our Iggy's been saved by the doll Iggy. I suppose I underestimated their capabilities. You're not stopping in at any stop lights or stop signs next time I say I'm gonna play this game. Don't drive unsafely for the sake of this. Be careful out there. ... I guess those guys have more fight in them than I thought, Genso whistled beneath his breath. The Iggy looks from the body of the tomato to me, to the bar. Then drops it like a hot poker, hands to his cheeks in shock. Or forget what I just said. But the moment of triumph is shortly lived. All at once, the bushes on either side of the path start to shimmy and shake. Dark shadows flash in and out between the trees, branches rustling overhead. Then they appear, all around us. Like a red will-o'-the-wisp emerging from the black. They crawl out of the brush, out from behind the trees, climbing down the bark. 10, 20, 30. There's so many of them. Okay, they quickly outnumber us. What are these things? Gidget clenches their fist in a show of fortitude, but I can hear the shudder in their voice. I guess you never had the privilege of watching these overgrown vegetables wear your guts for garters. Genzo grits his teeth. Let's try to keep it that way, eh? At first, nothing and no one moves. Then, an attack from the right. One of the tomato leaps, launching itself at one of the Iggies. The Iggy doesn't stand a chance. There's a flurry of limbs, a gnashing of teeth. And when the ripping starts, a growing pool of red forms on the ground beneath. I feel the barely contained panic roll in my gut, in my gut grip chest with a forceful jolt. The Iggies have blood? Okay, that's a whole other line of questioning, but holy shit. Okay, well, one Iggy down. I stumble to my feet. Run! But it's too late. The tomatoes come at us en masse, leaping, flying, surging towards us. All of them with twiggy limbs outstretched and poked grins wide and gaping. I make it about 2 steps before one comes straight at my head, and I drop to the dirt with a yelp. I hit the ground hard, and another electric-like shockwave ripping through my shoulder. I can feel my stitches tearing, but I don't have time to worry about that. Already, one of the tomatoes has lashed itself onto my back, its tiny fingers clawing at the fabric of my shirt. I scream in spite of myself, roll over with a terrified jerk. The tomato falls away and I quickly scramble to my feet, crawling somewhere, crawling anywhere. It's chaos around me. Tomatoes sailing through the air, hitting up the dirt, only to scamper away with almost playful glee. The Iggies have gone into a panic. Some of them already down, some of them hitting the tomatoes with pots and pans and anything they can possibly use as a weapon. I'm about to lose to a fucking tomato? These tomatoes are wild, okay? Let's not pretend like you could throw hands against 30-something tomatoes that are probably the size of an 11-year-old. And they just jump you. You know, like, this is the worst. You know that, like, question about could you handle a bunch of, like, you know, children throwing hands at you? Imagine those children having, like, the bite force of a fucking pit bull. Like, this is that question. Like, can you handle fighting a classroom worth of children, but they all have the bite force of a pit bull? You're handling that? I fucking doubt it. Trust? Have you ever given me a reason to trust you? I roll to the right just as an Iggy falls to the ground in front of me, a tomato lashed onto his head with its teeth buried in his face. I stifle a sob as I watch the tomato rip a giant hunk of flesh from the Iggy's neck. Where are Gidget and Genzo? My heart pounds in my chest as I crawl, nails digging into the dirt and knees smarting against stone. A flash of blonde. Gidget's there, not far in front of me, one hand clenched around what looks like a kitchen knife as they hold their other against their chest, bloody streaks atop their forearm. Fuck. Another thump, this time to my right. And Iggy falls half against me, tomatoes lashed to his back, his legs, one of his hands completely missing and gnawed off down to the wrist. Damn, these fucking tomatoes have, like, first of all, no self-preservation instinct. They have too much fun murking us. I'll be honest. Like, how did they even manage to survive out here? I meet his butt and gaze for just a moment, a look of vacant hopelessness in his face, before another tomato lands on top of his head and smashes his face into the dirt. I jerk backwards. Fuck. My breath tears in my larynx. Harry then gasped. I dig my elbows in the dirt as I attempt to crawl back away. On one of the tomatoes lands directly between my legs, my splayed legs, its wicked smile already stained red. I can do nothing but stare at it. It cocks its head, blinks, then, only just before it leaps, a foot connects with its tiny abdomen, sending it hurtling away. Don't just fucking look at it! Genzo's voice crackles in frustration. Kick it or something, you dumb fuck! A tomato slams into him from behind, latching into his shoulder and nearly sending him reeling forward. He grabs it by its green stem before it can so much as think about biting him, chucking it to the ground and slamming his screwdriver into its bulbous head with a squelch. Red spatters up and down his hands and cheeks. But rather than spur me on, this just sends my insides into an even greater turmoil. Yeah, Iggy is not a fighter, bro. His fight or flight reaction has him flighting every single time, almost. The only time he ever goes into fight mode is whenever somebody else might be in danger. And that's really about the only time he goes into fight mode. And with a harried gasp, I twist away, blinking back tears of panic as I drag myself back through the dirt. We're gonna die. I can't hear anything over the pounding cacophony of my heart. I can't see anything through the veil of salt water glistening atop my eyes. You are Iggy though? No, Iggy is Iggy. I am playing as Iggy. You are stupid. I'm crawling through red now. sticky, slimy slop coating the ground and dirt and the brush. I can't tell what it is, but I don't care. I pull myself through it, desperate to get away, my fingers, my knees, my shoulders all screaming at me. 3 of them come at me this time. The first one hits me from the side, sending me onto my back so hard I get the wind knocked out of me. The second finds my head, its 6 sticky fingers clawing at my hair, wrenching and tugging at my scalp. And the third parches itself right on top of my chest, a delightful trail of red smearing its shin and neck as it oogles me curiously. This is it. This is fucking it. I close my eyes, every nerve across my body sending off buzzing fireworks that sear at my skin. I guess we'll have to try something else next time. The tomatoes on top of me is gone. I blink. Blink again. A flash of something flying across my vision, but larger, bulkier, faster even than the tomatoes. The one gripping my hair is gone now. What the fuck? I push myself on my elbows. The flurry of activity around me hasn't abated, but the vibe has changed. Now the tomatoes are scared? They scamper and crawl across the ground, terrified squeaks as they attempt to get away, but again and again they disappear. Frenzied flashes of brown, of fur. Already their numbers are thinning. 5 more gone. 4. In a confused haze, I push myself to my feet, hand to my head. And one of the flashes stops right in front of me so fast I nearly fall straight back on my ass. Huh. Rabbits, but not armored, as they usually are. And not one of the crazy ones. This one might be a younger guy. Maybe. What the... The rabbit grabs me by my shirt, lifting me up to my toes as he studies me. If my pants haven't already been wet from the tomato assault they'd surely be drenched now. I don't blink. I don't even breathe. My lips and eyes trembling as the rabbit's twitching nose sniffs at my face and neck, my tender shoulder. He cocks his head. Then, as abruptly as he'd picked me up, he drops me back to the ground and zips away, taking a nearby escaping tomato with him. He made Iggy's pants wet. Well, fear will make you piss yourself sometimes. I don't know if you've noticed. I stand there unmoving, just staring at the spot he'd recently vacated, my body quivering. Did you notice that on his pin, it was like a rat with the crown on the head? At least it kind of looked like a rat. I'm not 100% sure, but it looked like a rat with a crown. And I just stared at the spot he'd recently vacated, my body quivering. Eggs! I turned my gaze vacantly to see Genzo scrambling towards me, the part of his face not covered in red splotches as white as a ghost. He comes so fast, he nearly rams right straight into me, stopping himself just in time and looking up and down in frenzied jerks of his head. God. He wipes his forehead, wipes it again. I don't know, Orlam does kind of look like a rat. Shut up. You're alive. God. He keeps repeating it over and over again. I see his fingers shaking, his eyes strained. He looks about as shell-shocked as I feel. 6 more seconds and he would have been. 6 more seconds and he would have been. Gijik limps over with a grunt, nursing their arm. They look equally as rough, scratches lining their cheeks, red staining their clothes. What the hell is even going on? We turn to watch as the last straggling tomato gets whisked away by another flash of brown and fur. Then the forest goes eerily silent. The scene around us looks like the aftermath of a massacre. Puddles of oozing red glistening atop the dirt. Strewn half-eaten limbs caught on stems and twigs. Pink insides hanging from the tree branches. My stomach gurgles as I take it all in. Take in the sight of all those Iggies, all those me's, lying in pieces across the forest floor, their innards laid bare. Now that the panic is starting to fade away, it's being replaced by a cold feeling of disbelief. Are they all dead? Are all the Iggies gone? Damn. And my legs, my arms, my entire body begins to shake, clammy shells clutching at my frame. I bring a hand to my mouth as bile rises to the back of my throat, then drop to my knees. Eggs! Genzo is beside me in a second, his hand to my shoulder. He doesn't say anything else. Just rubs my back in wide circles as I upshuck the pound cake I'd eaten during our break not more than 20 minutes ago all over the ground. Movement. A rustle, then another. The surviving Iggies start pushing themselves back to their feet. Yippee! We got some Iggies still alive! They're fucked up though. I hope they do alright. So one is missing an eye, that one's missing a chunk of his forearm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I count 9 of them rising from the viscera-strewn path. Some of them looking relatively unharmed, nothing but a few scratches and bruises. Others are clearly worse for wear, long gashes on their fronts and backs, a few of them missing eyes and fingers. Now the question is, was that rabbit fellow alone, or were they with more of their kin? I see Gidget taking a stock of our remaining troops. They curse beneath their breath. That's not gonna help morale. A pause. Where's our conquering heroes, though? No sooner have the words left their mouth than there's a flash from the right. With a shudder of the bushes, a rabbit lands in the middle of the recuperating gaggle of Iggies. A few of them stumble backward in surprise. He raises to his full height, looks around. Another flash, another shudder, and the second rabbit appears, then a third. Okay, so there's more of them. These rabbits, definitely different from the armored ones. Maybe it was just to adapt. I mean, they could still be under Orlam's command, and I actually don't have an explanation for the crazy rabbits in the beginning of this arc. Like, I don't know, maybe new gen rabbits, All the other ones went batshit crazy and Orlam somehow cooked up something. But they're not wearing their usual armor. Far from it. They seem to be geared up for some kind of wooden recon work. Garments light and airy, they're normally boot-clad, feet free and nimble against the ground. They glance around, at their handiwork or at the strangeness of our group, then turn to us. Gidget steps in front of Genzo and me, their hands held out protectively. State your purpose, rabbits. And it goes silent. The rabbits they look like Fortnite skins. I'm gonna just pretend I never read that. Staring at us. Then a cough from behind. Saving your asses, apparently, though you seem awfully ungrateful. The three of us spin around to find a fourth rabbit standing behind us. This one's looking a little more fucked up. He lets go of the severed tomato head he'd been holding, spits and wipes his nose. Nobody says anything. Jerry? Not fucking Jerry! Jerry again! Fucking Jerry! Who the fuck? Yeah, it's Jerry again. My question is, how do we know it's Jerry? Like, not to be racist, but like, they're all rabbits. I can't tell the difference unless they're like obviously insane. That's the only difference I can tell. There's the insane rabbits, and then there's the not insane ones. And then there's Jerry, I guess. Maybe he just has like a certain look to his face, I don't know. Fucking Jerry. I raced to my feet. Disbelief coloring my voice. Too late, reported for racism. I can't be racist against another species. That's speciesism. Very different. In that half a second, 3 things happen. First, I realize I have no idea how I could possibly know this rabbit's name. Second, my mind is all at once filled with strange visceral memories of fire and brimstone and magic and about a million other things that can't possibly be real because magic's not real. And why had my friends look like that? And it's Jerry from the fucking Our Fantastic Wonderland, or I think that was it's the same Jerry. we just know it's him. Oh goodness gracious. Third, Genzo lets out a "oh hell no" and goes stomping towards Jerry, finger pointed incriminatingly in the air. Genzo! But Genzo's tirade has already started. Fucking furry fuck up, stab you straight in the fucking solar plex before you fucking so much as look at him, conniving, jewel swiping fake ass king. I oughta yank those ear out of your fucking head and stuff him straight up your fucking nose, you fucking. Jerry just looks down at him, unamused. Genzo! I jog after him. Gidget's hot on my heels. Like, oh, Gidget's just like, what the fuck? Maybe he's a good guy this time. He's gonna take over and fix whatever is happening in the castle. I feel like that's not the case. If he's trying to cause a revolt, I feel like the last thing he wants is us to be around, because we, normal humans of the normal human realm, are the reason Wonderland is fucked in the first place. So he might tolerate us if we have the same objective, but I don't think he's gonna be good inherently. I think he's just gonna, like, you know, aligned interest at best type of situation. But Genzo isn't finished. He begins poking Jerry in the chest with sharp jabs of his index finger. Hey, fuckwad! You ever think of, I don't know, not showing your fucking face again after that whole fucked up rabbit worshipping shit show you subjected us to, huh? Jerry leans over, his nose twitching. Some reception after saving your life, but manners have always eluded you. Normal humans? You sure, Yolotl? I'm sure. Manners like my fucking face going straight down your fucking furry throat, rabbit throat, and straight out of your fucking rabbit ears. Ah, charming. Would you prefer to do this before or after those creatures have strung up your insides like party decorations? I can wait. Guys! Party, ooh, I think we've all had enough of your parties, you buck-toothed jackass with a superiority complex. What's first on the agenda? Smashing Iggy's hand? Waxing highfalutin on dribble? Destroying the whole fucking world just so your daddy will pay attention to you for a single second? At least my drivel has some literary merit to it. Yours is just screaming barely logical profanities and anatomically impossible defensive maneuvers. Guys! Anatomically impossible? I'll show you anatomically impossible, you giant furry fucked face fucking piece of rabbit shit. All the words of the world, and yet your diatribes still sound like those of a foul-mouthed toddler. Would you two fucking stop it already? It comes from Gidget this time. So sharp and loud and sudden that it stops all of us in our tracks. Jerry and Genzo look at Gidget in shock, then at each other, then at the ground. Thank you, Gidget grumbles, massaging their temple in obvious discomfort. I take a hesitant step forward, hands clasping and unclasping. Thank you, for saving us. Jerry's nose twitches. At least someone around here has some semblance of appreciation. He glances over at the scene of carnage and the other rabbits. Although it was no trouble on our side, we'd gotten used to the occasional run-in with our vegetarian friends. They get antsy, inspired. I make a face, stomach twisting in nauseous knots. Inspired, that's one way to put it. We? Gidget blinks. What, did you expect all the rabbits to have succumbed to the influence of that thing up in the castle? Some of us do actually care about this place, you know. Yeah, she should have known old freckled fuck had something to do with all this. Okay, now that I'm looking at the pin, it's looking more like a normal rabbit than a rat. I think it was just the fact that that like the rabbit pit, like part of the pin was like gray, and my brain just went, oh, like a, you know, like a rat. But that's not it. I think it's just meant to be just, you know, a rabbit. Now that I'm looking at the ears of the pin. You have some kind of resistance then? Indeed. Jerry twists his foot away as Genzo tries to discreetly step on it. Our numbers have shrunk some, but we can still be a force to be reckoned with when needed. Though nowadays we're mostly just biding our time, keeping the forest safe and monitoring things. Can you help us get to the castle? I say with a sudden onset of confidence. Jerry blinks, looks at me. Now there's a braggadocious idea. I see his ears twitch. You aren't by chance courting death, are you? Because that's a surefire way to win him over. That place is overrun with rabbits. No one's gone in or out in months. But we're the only ones who can stop this. We've got to get in there. Indeed. I think if anyone's going to get through to Orlam at this point, it's us. Yeah, lucky us. Jerry's eye twitches. You make a good point. He turns his gaze in what I can only assume is the direction of the castle. You might be the only ones who can course correct things at this point. There's a moment of silence. Then Jerry makes a clicking noise in the back of his mouth and jerks his head in the direction of the trees. I see the others take off. We'll head back to the base, see if we can figure out a strategy. Whoa, 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 Genzo waves his hand. How do we know this isn't some kind of carefully crafted trap meant to completely thoroughly fuck us over? This guy's got a track record, you know. Jerry smirks. You don't. But you also don't have a lot of other options now, do you? He nods in my direction, and your little boy toy over there looks about ready to pass out. So at the very least, you're going to need some rest. Genzo and Gidget both look at me. I blink, shooting my gaze back and forth between them, rigging my hand up in confusion. I'm fine, But even that motion was apparently too much, because it sends dizzy dancing spirals across my vision. And I'll have to bring my hand to my head with a groan to stop the world from spinning. Fuck, Sigs. You're in really bad shape. Genzo brings a hand to my arm. His fingers are warm against my clammy skin. Yeah, looks like your stitches came out, Gidget says with a grimace. I glance down to see the gauze wrapped under my shoulder glistening with new blood. The sight of it makes my head drum. He called you a boy toy, Gelato, do something. He called Iggy a boy toy. And I don't have any options to do things, so forgive me for my lack of action. We got medics who can look him over. Jerry smooths back his ears with a only slightly elongated sigh. If we really are going to do this, we certainly can't have anyone slowing us down now, can we? At any rate, let's move along. Night will fall soon, and the castle perimeter gets unsafe at night. I see his eyes twitch. Then he starts off in the direction the other rabbits had disappeared. Gidget whistles back at the Eggies, still bemused and mumbling, as Genzo gives my uninjured shoulder an encouraging squeeze. Come on, Eggs, let's get you somewhere you could lay down for about 9.5 hours, yeah? Yeah, it's all I say. It's all I can manage to say, as the lot of us fall into step behind our reluctant rabbit savior. Oh my god, I fucking hate having a stuffed nose, bro. It's causing me to sound weird. Jerry leads us through the rapidly darkening woods, pausing every few minutes to survey the perimeter, his ears twitching. It's not far, though. We reach a clearing with the strangely conspicuous stump surrounded by a strangely conspicuous patch of brush. And Jerry goes straight up to it and gives it the thing a solid knock with his foot. It pops open. Come along, then. He gestures towards us before hopping inside the newly revealed passage. God, if this turns into some kind of Silence of the Lambs shit, it'll be fine. Only with rabbits, it'll be fine. Rabbits wearing human skin, that's like the opposite of a furry. Genzo, get it in the rabbit stump hole. God, fuck, fine, I'm going. Genzo really is hung up on all this. Oh, goodness. We go down the hole. The ladder is a bit tricky to navigate. One of those rope ones that constantly attempts to twist away from your reaching foot. But we make it down in one piece, the three of us gazing around our new environs as our remaining squadron of Iggies continues their descent behind us. It's larger than I expected it would be, and almost homely? A great big cave carved out of the dirt, but lined with mosses and roots and hanging vegetalia. Vegetalia makes it sound like I'm saying, like, genitalia. And carving around the path underfoot, ebbing and flowing with the rhythm of the land. At the end is a small opening that appears to end out onto some sort of moonlit overlook. Built into the cliff, then. I follow after Genzo and Gidget, my head on a swivel as I take in the beds of brush and leaves, the boulder-like tables with plates of breads and wooden stains of frothy beverages. And the rabbits, because there's certainly no lack of them, all around us and staring at us as we make our way through the dimly lit path leading down the cave's center. Some of them are lounging on their beds, feet perched on knees and ears at rest. Some of them are gathered around tables and partaking of victuals, engaged in stories or reckless card games. And still others are exercising. Though perhaps training would be the better word, given their cobbled together punching bags and target boards. One of them even boasting a rather crudely drawn, yet still recognizable likeness of Orlim in his cakely attire. And I get so absorbed in staring ogling at my surroundings that I don't even notice how far behind the others I've gotten. Until one of the rabbits hops down from his perch right beside me, nose twitching and eyes narrowed. I jump backwards with a swollen squawk, then give a little jog to catch up with Gidget and the others. At the center of the room is a round table, seemingly cut off from the stump of an enormous tree. It's currently covered with an assortment of maps and papers. And to the right of it is a sunken fire pit, cozy and crackling as its light dances across the walls. When Jerry reaches the table of the rabbits who'd been poring over the documents, stand up straight, pulling a set of swift salutes. Jerry gestures towards us with a flick of his ears. Got them some beds for the night, and food. He glances back, and we make a momentary eye contact. I stand up a little straighter. Oh, and that one's gonna need a medic. Sir, yes, sir! The rabbits dart in action, wrapping blankets around our shoulders, fetching us mugs, ushering us towards the fire. It all happens quite quickly, to the point that it makes my head swirl. Though just as I'm about to sit down with the others, another set of paws finds me, guiding me past the pits and towards another corner of the cave and what appears to be an infirmary of sorts. They're not particularly gentle with me, splayed out on one of the wooden cots as they yank the dried gauze off my shoulder and get to work, first cleaning it, then searing it with an alcohol, then applying some sort of goopy ointment from a tube, before finally going in to replace the stitches. It hurts, but not as much as I expected it would. A result of whatever they used, perhaps. It still makes for an uncomfortable time, though, and I find myself groaning in spite of myself, tears springing to the corners of my eyes as I grip the side of the cot. By the time they are finished and have replaced the gauze, I'm out of breath and out of sorts. But at least I'm no longer bleeding. One of the other rabbits rewraps the blanket around my shoulders before giving my hair a semi-encouraging tussle. Up, he gestures. We'll check it again tomorrow. Right. I pull the edges of the blanket in tighter around my frame, feeling all of a sudden shy. I'm handed a mug and shooed away. It tangles against my fingertips. Warm. I start shuffling back towards the fire. Well, I like that the rabbits, they're serious, but they're not, they're not mean about it. They're just, soldiery about stuff. A little rough, but, that's to be expected. Only to give another half jump at the sight of Jerry leaning against the wall only a few paces away, just staring at me. Oh, what? My voice cracks. Jerry's nose twitches. He hacks something up in the back of his throat, spits it onto the ground. Ew, Jerry, don't do that. That's nasty. I glance down at the resulting glimmer of ooze. Finally, without saying anything else, he steps forward, extending his hand. I stared at it. He stares at me. Not knowing what else to do, I take it with an awkward shake. For all that, I blink. 'Cause, a rabbit's gotta do what a rabbit's gotta do, Jerry looks like a tier 100 battle pass skin and the top 5 character. He's the top 5 characters in this game right now. Well, at least we know that you're a fanboy. Or that you, at the very least, think highly of him. Now I kind of want to go back to the other Wonderland game and just play through all the routes. Because we didn't do that. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe in the future we'll do that. I'm sure. Just to see if there's other changes. I know there's changes and endings. But that's about it, I think. Maybe a little different. Who knows? Another blink. He just keeps shaking my hand. But we can put all that behind us, yeah? What the hell are you talking about? Jerry jerks his hand away angrily, front teeth gnashing. I'm trying to apologize to you, you blundering ignoramus. That was an apology? I thought it was pretty damn clear.
Shaking my hand? Shaking my hand and making vague allusions to things I barely remember? Jerry flicks his hand away with a growl. Way less annoying in this game, I guess. I can see him biting down on his bottom lip. Look, I did some things I regret. Am I proud of them? He pauses. Actually, yes. Yes, I am, but that's besides the point. The point now is that things have gotten fucked beyond all reason. And it'd be in the mutual interest of both of our parties to stop this runaway train of unhindered horrors before our tickets are stamped through to the last stop. I return to my abject blinking, just holding my mug against my chest. Jerry watches me for a moment, then presses his lips together, his ears curling in on themselves in crinkly embarrassment. He turns away. So yeah, that was all. We'll discuss strategy tomorrow. Get some rest. Then he twists on his heels and goes storming off. I simply stare after him, at a loss. Was he... I blink again, then shake my head. I'm still woozy from the operation. Some food and rest by the fire would do me a world of good right now. So, with a final glance at Jerry's retreating form, I head towards the center of the cave and the flickering light of the fire beyond. Poor Jerry. We barely remember, that other semi-canonical ongoings. And Jerry's like, I remember everything. I gotta go do a thing real quick. I'll be back and we'll keep going for another 30 minutes so that we can have a solid 3-hour stream. Alright, I'm back with some water as well. Your mic's not muted, leave the homeless person alone? What the hell are you talking about? We spend the night feasting, laughing, warming our bones with frothy ale and fireside joviality. Despite the initial dubious reception, the rabbits take to us immediately. The Iggies especially. Once they've been patched up, they join the rabbit card games, the drinking competitions, even partaking in a few bouts of dagger darts with the targets on the wall. And the rabbits themselves can't get enough of it, whooping and hollering as the stakes in their levels of inebriation rise. I feel the warmth of the alcohol rise to my own cheeks. Watching one of the rabbits relay an exuberant story of one of their many battles against the king's men, as they call their more violent brethren. Jerry even joins in towards the end, insisting that the injury that he's succumbed to in the story had been the result of a certain rabbit named Leroy jumping the gun. Leroy Jenkins! Which launches all of them into a raucous debate that I lose track of in about 5 minutes. But it doesn't really matter at that point. I'm mostly just tuning out the words, focusing instead on the warm hum of voices, the crackle of the fire, the warm tingle running up and down my spine. The way Genzo's hand keeps finding my shoulder whenever he laughs, squeezing it in time with his mirth, his smile bright and contagious in the flickering light. The way Gidget keeps checking to see if I need anything, refilling my empty mug, grabbing one of the pokers of fire-tote roasted mushrooms so I don't need to get up. Ignorant. I feel safe, secure, just there with my friends, surrounded by warmth and laughter. I let my gaze drop to the fire, just staring at the dancing embers. And when things finally start to die down, I feel a sort of contentment, a contented tiredness settle over me. I pull my blanket in around my shoulders as I wander around, trying to figure out where to put my empty mug. One of the rabbits must notice my confusion because he takes it from me with a somewhat astonished smile, telling me I could just have left it wherever. Oh, I respond, suddenly sheepish. Then watch him walk away with it, feeling as though I've just parted with something dear. I gave my head a shake. God, I need sleep. I start back toward the others, and toward the other end, the small section of beds we'd been given on the other side of the fire pit. Around me, rabbits are yawning and stretching and lounging across their beds. And I spy Iggy's doing the same up ahead, each of them carefully and painstakingly preparing their beds for the night ahead. There is something cozy about the sight. All of us settling down after a long winter's nap. Or something. Although this summons a pang of disquietude in my stomach. If only that were all we were settling down for. Not whatever awaits us in that castle in the forest beyond. I press my lips together with a quiet sigh. Then spot Genzo sitting on his bed against the far wall. He's curled up in his blanket, watching the Iggies in mild bemusement as he leans against the earthen surface of the cave. I glance around for Gidget, but I don't see them. Not on any of the beds, not helping the rabbits tending to the fire, not in the infirmary quarter, but I see a final lingering Iggy emerge with a fresh bandage passed it across his forearm. I blink, tilt my head. Average homeless shelter dialogue. Listen, we're not in a homeless shelter. We're in an encampment, an underground base. That's just how it goes. I guess when you think about it, there may not be too many differences between a military encampment during war and a homeless shelter. Or not a homeless shelter, just a homeless encampment. Less drugs, I imagine. That's about it. Uh-huh. Yes, uh-huh. Don't you uh-huh me, you fuck. Sorry, I got a little aggressive there. My apologies. I blink, tilt my head, then turn in the direction of the glow of the moonlight, the opening at the end of the cave, leading out to the overlook and the sea of trees and stars beyond. I catch a glimpse of Blonde just past the edge of the tunnel. Ah, another blink. I turn my gaze towards Genzo, then again towards Gidget. Ah, man. Decisions. You know what Iggy needs? To fucking sleep. That's what Iggy needs right now. We're going straight to bed, bro. Just go to sleep, man. I scratch at my calf with the side of my foot. We're just procrastinating at this point. Then yawn. I'm not really feeling up to any kind of interaction right now, to be honest. This day has been long enough as it is. So straight to bed? Yep. I kind of just want to curl up on my bed and sleep. So, with a slight trudge in my step, I make my way through the rows of bed and their accompanying Iggy's. Mine is the bunk against above Genzo's. And as I start up the ladder, Genzo glances up from beneath his spot, eyes wide and blinking. You hitting the sacks? Eggs? Yeah, I say with a peek down through the rungs, hoping I don't come off as too standoffish. Just tired as all. Don't blame ya. Then, after a slight pause, have a good night though, yeah? You too. The words buzz in on my lips as I pull myself the rest of the way up and into my bunk. It's soft beneath my back. The cushiony cloud of leaves and soft brush and all its head, and at its head a pillow my head practically sinks into. It feels wonderful, and as I lie there, I start staring up at the ceiling overhead, light from the fire dancing across the grooves in the dirt. And I feel some of the built-up tension in my back and shoulders begin to ease. Finally, some time to myself. Some time to just lie here. In the quiet. It's incredibly calming. The continued crackle of the fire pit. The chirp of crickets from somewhere within the surrounding dirt and vegetation. The soft, warm light enveloping my body like a soothing veil. I've let my eyes flutter closed, just letting the quietude settle over me. It doesn't take much longer after that for my consciousness to drift away, and sleep to overtake me. I awake the next morning to the smell of something cooking over the fire. It's a delightful smell that makes the tip of my nose itch. And when I creak my eyes open, I see soft sunlight filtering in from the back tunnel, blanketing the cave in warm sunlight. And I push myself to a seat with a groan, glance about. The rabbits are already up and moving, scurrying around and doing, well, who knows what, really. But they're quite active. A good number of them around the fire pit holding half-eaten skewers and drinking mugs of what I hope is coffee. Because god damn, could I really use some coffee right now. Stifling a yawn, I make my way down the ladder, nearly bumping into a scuttling Iggy as I start towards the center of the cave. Once equipped with my own mug and plate of morning comestibles, I wander towards the fire, hoping to catch a glance of a familiar face so that I don't have to stand awkwardly and eat. Or even worse, make the walk of shame back to my bunk and eat there. Sleep well? I nearly jump out of my shoes at the voice, then twist around to see Jerry standing next to me, arms crossed over his chest. How on earth is the 7-foot tall rabbit so fucking stealthy? Coffee? Gelato reference spotted? Such a basic item. That's a reference to me. Come on now. I guess, I say before sinking my mouth into my coffee. Coffee! Yippee! I do enjoy coffee though. Good, he says simply. You're gonna need it. He gives me a chest pat on the shoulder before striding away with a crisp Raoul and heading for the main table. Raul Menendez. Sorry, that's like the first thing that pops into my head. He's the guy from Black Ops 2. I think he's the bad guy, right? Is it Raul Menendez? Now I'm like going off another tangent. What the hell is wrong with me? Yeah, he's the guy from Black Ops 2. Just my brain, that's just fucking connecting to random things. I watch him for a moment, just blinking in silence, and then return to my breakfast of fried potatoes and eggs. Ooh, fried potatoes and eggs! It was a nice breakfast, though. Once breakfast is over, things begin moving quickly. The table of documents is cleared, only to be replaced with a large map. This is a good, look at this. Genzo's legs have their wraps. Iggy has his wraps. Gidget is helping out with planning. I'm assuming green is our guys, yellow is the Kingsmen, red is our guy over here, his squad, I suppose. The Avengers. This really is the last cast, the last act. Not the Avengers. And around the table, rabbits begin gathering. Jerry at the head of the comforting with what I can only guess are his top men. The remaining rabbits are no less active. They take their armor and weapons en masse, mending holes and rips and sewing layers of hardened plates onto the joints, sharpening daggers and spearheads. A few of them even carving darts and arrows out of hardwood bark for an assortment of long-range options. I'm impressed, to say the least, though I'm not sure what wouldn't impress me at this point. Just that if you'd asked me my expectations before making this final Wonderland excursion, I would 100% have not said a rebel army of underground rabbits ready to wade into battle at a moment's notice. I feel a bit out of my league. I don't know enough about the turf, the enemy, the current situation to provide much in the way of the strategic advice, but I try my best to follow along with the rapid discussions happening around the round table as Jerry and his band of merry rabbits the pros and cons beleaguer the pros and cons of each assault on Castle Orlam. Gidget proves better than me at speaking on our needs as the only ones not 7 feet tall at the table. In fact, they seem completely in their element. On their feet next to Jerry and debating points of entry based on known rabbit concentration areas, a term Jerry and company keep throwing around as KRCAs. There's something quite regal about the sight. About the way they expertly rebuke ideas that would have required the three of us to move at speeds up to 60 miles an hour to keep from having our heads lopped up. Okay, Damn, 60 miles an hour is fucking wild. It's like, guys, please. We're like top speed, 12 miles an hour for like a couple minutes maybe. We are not Usain Bolt, so you know. Even Usain Bolt can't beat that. Like, he goes like, what, 20 something miles an hour? Holy fuck. Well, next to me, Genzo keeps coughing and making wisecracks about everything from rabbit mating rituals to Jerry's unnatural fixation on getting inside Orlam's castle. Of course, he's making sexual innuendos. This one receives a slap across the nose from Jerry's pond moving stick. It's all quite a lot, really. Just somehow between the group, a plan begins to develop. And as I watch Jerry move the little wooden pawns that represent us across the map again for the umpteenth time, a realization hits me. This might actually work. Does it seem impossible? Mildly. Does it seem dangerous? Incredibly. But by golly, do the cogs seem to be turning in the right directions, because for once, no one says a thing. Everyone just stares at the board. When do you guys get guns? I don't know. Even if we could, I don't think it'd be anything special. At best, some like 15th century type shit, which would take a long time to make, and each one of them would be kinda different. Just based off of the technological... We don't even know if we have a blacksmith. I mean, we have weapons, so we have somebody that can make blades at least. But we wouldn't need time to make gunpowder, and that requires other materials we probably don't have. So we're not getting guns. That's what I'm trying to say. Jerry taps his stick against his shoulder, gaze flickering around the table. Well, he finally says, a voice rumbling in the base of his throat. Commence Operation Bottoms Up, I guess. Bottoms Up, that's certainly a name. The skewers, excuses, make me a gun? How about you make yourself a gun? How about that? Why don't you make yourself a gun? The sewers, not the skewers, the sewers. We're going in from the sewers. There's perhaps some mild irony in this given how many times we've likely exited via the sewers in some form or another, but I try not to think about it. You will? Well, good luck with that, Viewbot. Instead, I focus on my final preparations. My final med check in the infirmary, my final weapons check with a rather exuberant rabbit named Lemmy. I settled on a small, retractable dagger under the assumption I'd injure myself on anything else. My final meal with the noticeably tenser crew. Dinner is a giant pot of squirrel stew. My final empathic shoulder touch from Gidget as they tell me everything's gonna be fine. Just fine. My final empathic backslap from Genzo as he tells me we're gonna all die, before just as quickly retracting it and fervently apologizing upon seeing the color drain from my face. He's like, we're all gonna die! Oh, my bad, G. My bad. And then, once the sun begins its descent towards the horizon, we are off. You know what? I think I'll leave things off here. Where do I save? What day is it? 20-something. We will leave things off here and just have, well, these last couple of minutes, just, you know, be discussion time. Pre-3-phase Orlam boss fight next stream. I don't know. Things have already gone slightly wrong, right, with Gidget's whole thing, but they always go like war. It is that they say, a plan never survives first contact, right? So the plan might be fine and dandy, but until things actually start happening, you know, like something is gonna go wrong, and we're gonna have to rely on the adaptability of our rabbit compatriots here, who are plenty quick And I assume will probably be quicker than the armored rabbits, the king's men, by a certain amount, although to be fair, their suits of armor never seem to hamper them too much when it comes to their speed. But I do feel as though our rabbit lads have slight advantages. You know, they have ranged weaponry, they are probably going to be slightly quicker, they seem more stealthy. Yeah, if nothing went wrong, it'd be a little boring, TBH. Exactly. Exactly. Now to guesstimate at what might actually happen. Like, Orlam has to be crazier than before if things have gone so bad that there's an entire rebellion and the rabbits under Orlam's command are just out and about cannibalizing each other. I remember now that when we first came to Wonderland and we got out of or in this arc, when we first came to Wonderland, one of the armored rabbits ate another armored rabbit. So, like, things are really bad over there. That only makes me think, like, you predict one more cannibal scene? Maybe? Maybe some verbal sexual harassment from Orlam. Yeah, probably. And he's probably gonna say something about a Gidget. That's gonna be rather rude, I can imagine. There's also the like, we barely were able to, like, get Gidget to, like, shell out, and that wasn't pre-slurs. I don't think there's gonna be any slur drops per se, but, like, just rude comments, because that's, you know, Orlam is capable of those. What was I gonna say? We only got Gidget back to be on our side because of Cecil and his death. I don't know what plan we can, like, have to try and make Orlam not, you know, go crazy. I mean, I'm sure there's, like, some things, and I'm sure it's gonna have to involve Genzo, honestly. Just like how getting Gidget to shell out involved Cecil. You're skipping Cecil's death scene, by the way. You'll see it back in the goddamn thing. No worries. Cecil kind of had it, like, under, like, he kind of locked in that fight. He just was not expecting that final move that Gidget pulled. But he was pretty good for the couple of minutes that he lasted. We'll see what happens next time, though. I really don't know what will happen. This is, I think, that I cry. No, I did lament his loss after gaining him back. Because he literally dies, like, a couple of minutes after he like, appears with Genzo. This is one of those moments where I genuinely don't know what's gonna happen next. Like, how things are gonna go down. Like, Buxley's... If I was talking about Buxley, the whole Buxley thing, that's already a given. I already never know what's gonna happen with Buxley. But with Orlam this time around, I feel like I'm even, like... There's not enough, to go off of. We know things are crazier, and that's really it. So, let's see. Is anybody I know streaming today so that we can do a little raid? No. That's okie dokie, though. I shall bid thee farewell, my kindred. I hope you all have a great rest of your mornings, afternoons, evenings, and nights, wherever and whenever you are. May the gods bless you. May the stars shine in your honor. And... yeah, I'm gonna have to stay awake all damn night because I woke up at a ridiculous hour. I have to reset my sleep schedule. So wish me luck. Bye-bye.